I stand in my parents' kitchen on Christmas Eve, with my hands trembling as I arrange fresh rosemary sprigs around the perfectly roasted turkey. The bird gleams beneath the chandelier light, the silver serving tray beneath it reflecting back my flushed, anxious face. The smells of butter, garlic, and sage hang thick in the air. But beneath it all, my stomach knots with a different kind of heat. I hear my mother's voice drifting in from the dining room, honey-sweet, refined. Carefully practiced for nights like this when the Connecticut elite fill her house. "This is our Melissa," she announces, pride dripping from every syllable. The family's pride and joy. She's handling public relations for Bloomfield Industries now. Senior position. You know, only 29, and already making waves in corporate America. The response is predictable, polite gasps, warm nods, murmurs of approval that ring like applause. I recognize Senator Williams's voice among the mix, along with the laughter of his wife, the clinking of their crystal glasses, the rustle of expensive suits and gowns shifting in their seats. My mother knows her audience well, knows exactly which notes to hit. "And your other daughter?" someone asks. The pause is thin, razor sharp, a silence that cuts me even before she fills it. "Christine is around somewhere," she replies with dismissive ease. "She's quite handy in the kitchen." The words burn hotter than the oven at my back. 15 years of sweat, strategy, and stubborn willpower building Aurora Events into one of the most respected luxury event firms on the East Coast. 15 years of contracts that range from celebrity weddings to presidential fundraisers. 15 years of forging something from nothing, without family capital, without introductions, without their approval. And here I am, reduced again to the help. I square my shoulders, take a breath deep enough to burn, and push through the swinging door. Conversation dips for just a moment as 12 pairs of eyes turn toward me, not me, really, but the turkey I carry like an offering. My mother's smile is polished to perfection, thin and sharp as glass. "At least Christine is useful for something," she says with a brittle laugh. The heat creeps up my cheeks, but I force my hands to remain steady as I lower the tray onto the long mahogany table, every surface gleaming with a curated history of wealth. The Waterford crystal, the Wedgwood china, the polished silver flatware, all of it sings with old family pride. A senator's wife catches my eye with a soft, pitying smile that slices through me worse than the derision. I do not want her pity. I want acknowledgement. "The cranberry sauce is my grandmother's recipe," I hear myself say, my voice steadier than I expect. My mother waves a hand, as if brushing away a fly. Christine always did have a knack for following instructions. The laugh that follows cuts like glass. I retreat back into the kitchen, my chest tight, the marble counter cold against my palm as I lean against it. Before me sits a lineup of pies and trifles I had prepared before dawn. My apron clings damp against my waist. It feels like 18 all over again. The first Christmas dinner I cooked for this family after choosing culinary school instead of the Ivy League path they had scripted for me. Melissa unwrapped cashmere sweaters and diamond earrings while I burned my hands on roasting pans, desperate to please. My phone vibrates in my pocket. I glance down. A single message from Elizabeth, my COO, my closest friend, the one who knows me better than my own family ever has. It reads, "Horizon emergency." There is no emergency. It is the signal we devised long ago, her quiet way of offering me an escape from family obligations that cross into cruelty. I stare at it once, then again. the letters blurring as tears I refuse to shed sting my eyes. I untie the apron. The door swings open. My mother appears, hair silver-streaked but styled to perfection. Her crimson dress tailored sharp against her skin. She glances at her pearl watch. "The senator is waiting for dessert," she says coolly. "What's taking so long?" The lineup of sweets gleams behind me like soldiers waiting for command. Something in me shifts. Not rebellion exactly. Something quieter, stronger. A recognition that I have given them 15 years of my life. 15 years of proof, and they will never see it. "I need a moment," I say, slipping off the apron. Her eyes narrow. "Don't be dramatic, Christine. This is what you're good at." My father appears behind her, tall but slightly stooped now, his dark skin catching the chandelier light, his silence as heavy as his presence. Richard Hale was once a formidable businessman. Now retired, he never contradicts my mother. "Is there a problem?" he asks in a low voice. "Christine is having one of her moments," my mother replies sharply. "I'm not having a moment," I tell them, my voice calm, measured. I'm recognizing a pattern. The silence that follows is jagged. My father shifts uneasily, his gaze on the floor. "The Hendersons and the Williamsons are waiting," my mother reminds me. "Do you have any idea how important tonight is for your sister's connections?" Connections? Always Melissa's connections. Never mine. I lift the tray of desserts anyway. "I'll bring them out," I say quietly. Her nod is curt, satisfied. She turns away. My father lingers, opens his mouth as if to speak, then closes it again and follows her. I enter the dining room once more, serving each guest personally with the same poised smile I use at galas, where billionaires treat me with more respect than my own family does. Melissa sits radiant at the far end, her golden brown skin glowing beneath the chandelier, her laughter effortless as she entertains Senator Williams with tales of her latest PR triumph. My phone buzzes again. I check discreetly. "Elizabeth, we're outside." I make my choice. I remove the folded napkin draped over my arm. "I have to go," I announce lightly, the weight of truth beneath the words. Business emergency. On Christmas Eve, my mother's expression curdles. Surely whatever it is can wait until tomorrow. It's the Horizon contract, I say, and for the first time tonight, I see a flicker of something almost like respect flash in her eyes. She's heard of Horizon Resorts. She knows the name, even if she pretends she doesn't follow my work. "Christine runs some sort of catering business," she explains quickly to the table, her voice dipped in condescension. "Event planning. Actually, I correct her, my chin high. We're coordinating Horizon's national brand relaunch." Senator Williams raises his brows, impressed. "The Horizon deal? That's a major contract." The conversation shifts. Melissa stiffens. My mother's smile freezes in place. I excuse myself, coat and purse already in hand. Outside, Elizabeth's car idles in the circular driveway, snowflakes catching in the headlights. I slide into the passenger seat. Her concerned eyes meet mine. "Same as last year?" she asks gently. "Worse," I answer. "They know exactly what I do," I add softly. "They just choose not to acknowledge it." She squeezes my hand on the console. We pull away, the glowing windows of my childhood home shrinking in the mirror until they vanish entirely. "This is the last holiday I will spend as their servant," I say, my voice quiet but firm. the words solidifying into a vow as the Connecticut estate fades behind me. 3 days later, I push open the heavy oak doors of the Willowbrook Country Club. Elizabeth convinced me to come, only to retrieve the portfolio I'd forgotten in my father's study. "They'll be at the board meeting," she promised. "You'll be in and out." The lobby is all marble polish and ancestral portraits. I keep my gaze forward until a laugh freezes me in place. Melissa's laugh, practiced and musical, floating from a small reading room off the main hall. The contract signing is next week. My mother's voice murmurs, sharp beneath its sweetness. "So your timing couldn't be better. Christine has no idea we know about Horizon." My chest tightens. I edge closer. Unseen. The door cracked open. "The Williamsons are on the Horizon board," Melissa says. "Their daughter works in legal. She confirmed it's worth over $2 million. My father clears his throat. "Keep your voice down." "No one's here," Melissa replies. "Besides, who would care about Christine's little catering business? Event planning." My mother corrects her coolly. Which is why this Horizon situation is becoming problematic. The Williamsons mentioned Christine by name at the Christmas party before we could redirect the conversation. Papers rustle. "I've been calling her vendors for months," Melissa confesses, her voice low, certain, dropping hints about financial instability. Most of them were receptive, especially once I mentioned my PR expertise. My stomach lurches. My knees threaten to give way. "This file has everything," my mother continues. "Financial reports, client lists, vendor relationships. Christine's surprisingly good at business for someone who couldn't get into Yale. Good enough to embarrass the family if she continues to succeed," my father mutters. The words slice sharper than glass. "I've planted seeds with 3 Horizon executives," Melissa adds with pride. Just enough concern about Aurora's capacity to handle a national relaunch. One mentioned they might revisit parts of the proposal. The air drains from my lungs. Months. They've been sabotaging me for months. And then my mother's voice again. Silk covering steel. Christine still craves our approval too much to see the truth. She spent 15 years thinking we simply don't understand her business. She doesn't see what's right in front of her face. I stumble back into the hallway, pressing against the wall, the world tilting sideways. Every memory reshuffles. Clients withdrawing mysteriously after family gatherings. Vendors hesitating right after Melissa's friendly visits. The health inspector before the governor's fundraiser. None of it was coincidence. None of it was bad luck. It was them. It was always them. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Elizabeth. "Everything okay?" I stare at the screen, my breath jagged. Then I type, "Meet me at the office. Emergency strategy meeting." And I know this time, I'm not running. I'm preparing for war. The conference room at Aurora's Manhattan headquarters is all glass and steel, the skyline stretching wide beyond its windows like a promise I earned with my own hands. Elizabeth waits at the table, auburn hair catching the light, her expression steady but concerned. Beside her is James Wilson, our CFO, a tall man in his early 60s whose deep voice and meticulous habits have saved Aurora more than once. They rise as I walk in, my pulse still racing from what I overheard at the club. They know everything. I tell them, the words flat, stripped of disbelief. Melissa has been sabotaging Aurora for years, and my parents have known. Encouraged it even. Elizabeth nods as though she expected this moment. She opens her laptop, pulling up a folder titled Family Incidents. "I've been documenting patterns," she admits. Strange coincidences that always seem to happen after family gatherings. Clients suddenly concerned, vendors spooked, health inspectors arriving unannounced. James lays a spreadsheet on the table. Neat rows of figures that tell a story of sabotage more clearly than words. The correlation is statistically significant, he says. Every major disruption aligns with a family event. I sink into a chair, the leather cool against my arms. 15 years, I thought they just didn't see me. All this time, they've been actively undermining me. Elizabeth meets my gaze, her voice calm. Christine, they wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't terrified of your success. The words land like a weight, but also like fuel. The truth burns, but it clarifies. Document everything. I tell them, every cancellation, every complaint, every suspicious timing. We're not just defending the Horizon contract. We're protecting Aurora from the people who should have been protecting me. James nods, sliding another file across the table. Already started. Vendor communications, financial transparency reports, client testimonials. If they try to shake Horizon's confidence, we'll be ready. But the sense of betrayal coils tighter in my chest. I built this company from nothing, and while I sweated over contracts, my own sister planted bombs at the foundation. The next morning, I stand in Aurora's test kitchen, the stainless steel surfaces gleaming under fluorescent light. Elizabeth hovers near the industrial refrigerator while I hold a health inspector's report, fingers trembling. I've read it a dozen times, but the name on the complaint jumps out like fire each time a concerned family member. It was Melissa, I say, my voice steady despite the storm inside. She called them. She's the reason inspectors keep showing up before our biggest events. Elizabeth lays down a manila folder, spreading out records she's been quietly collecting. Look at the timing. Every complaint within 48 hours of family dinners or holidays. Every inspection right after you mentioned new clients to your parents. I press my palm against the cold steel table, the betrayal cutting deeper with each page. She's been contacting our vendors too. Elizabeth continues. I have transcripts. At the showcase last month, Melissa introduced herself as working for Aurora, asked about our order volumes. My jaw tightens. She's dismantled us piece by piece. And all the while, I thought it was bad luck. The Horizon contract signing is next week, Elizabeth says quietly. They'll try to stop it. I finish. But this time, we have proof. I pick up my phone, a strange calm settling in. It's time for lunch with my sister. The following day, I arrive at Bellini's early, choosing a central table by the windows. The kind of place where conversations are never fully private. Anthony, the maitre d', recognizes me instantly. Your usual table? Miss Hale. The one with the garden view. Not today, I reply. Something more central. Please. He raises a brow but nods. Minutes later, I sit with the health inspector's report spread neatly beside my water glass. The other documents stacked like weapons waiting for battle. Melissa sweeps in 5 minutes late, her cream suit immaculate, her chignon perfect. She leans down to air-kiss my cheek before settling across from me. You look tired, Christine, she says smoothly. Those big events must be exhausting. I smile thinly and slide the report across the table. The inspector mentioned who called them. It was you. Her fingers pause on her napkin. A flicker of surprise in her eyes before she recovers. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't, I say quietly. I place another document before her. The pattern of anonymous complaints lined up like dominoes, all filed within 48 hours of family dinners. All tied back to you. Her cheeks flush. She pushes the papers away. You're being ridiculous. Am I? I lean closer, lowering my voice. I also have recordings. Vendors you contacted pretending to represent Aurora. She shifts, her polished calm slipping for the first time. The restaurant noise hums around us, clinking glasses. Bursts of laughter. The glide of waiters, but at our table, the air is heavy. Then her eyes flicker with relief. Mother's here, she says. I glance up. Evelyn Hale strides toward us, regal in burgundy, her silver-streaked hair perfect, her expression tightening as she sees the papers. She slides into the seat beside Melissa, smile faltering. What is this she demands? Evidence, I reply evenly. Of sabotage against my company? Her voice drops to a whisper, sweet as syrup, hard as stone. That's a serious accusation. Christine. Backed by serious proof. I push the inspector's report toward her. She waves it away, her pearls glinting in the light. We were only concerned about your standards. After all, we heard about that food poisoning incident at the Mason wedding. There was no incident. I cut in. That was a rumor Melissa started. Aurora has never had a single case of food poisoning. Our health scores are flawless. Melissa shifts, glances around as nearby diners begin to notice. Her composure phrase, fine, she hisses. I called the inspector. I made the calls. I was protecting the family name. Protecting my laugh is sharp. By lying, by risking hundreds of jobs, by tearing down what I've spent 15 years building. Evelyn's gaze sharpens. Lower your voice. We can discuss this privately? No. The word lands firm. We've had 33 years of privacy. This time it's public. Melissa's mask cracks further. You think you're so much better with your little company, but you don't understand what it's like. Our family name matters. Connections matter. I did what I had to do. I lean forward, voice steady, eyes locked on hers. No more calls to vendors. No more rumors to clients. No more inspectors. If you interfere again, the next conversation happens with lawyers and with the district attorney. Evelyn's lips thin. Is that a threat? It's a promise. I reply, gathering the papers. I've worked too hard, for too long, to let anyone, even family, destroy what I've built. I leave cash on the table and rise. Through the window, I see Elizabeth waiting in the car. I walk past my mother and sister without another glance, though I feel their eyes burning holes in my back. As I slide into the passenger seat, Elizabeth studies my face. You told them. Everything. I confirm, my voice like steel. Through the restaurant windows, I glimpse Melissa and Evelyn bent together, urgent whispers spilling between them. But then Anthony, the owner, hurries out. Miss Hale? He calls, breathless. We're hosting the Chamber of Commerce dinner next month. Would Aurora be available to handle it? I smile, genuine this time. We'd be honored. The words hang in the air like validation. A public invitation extended in full view of the family that tried to erase me. Back at the office that evening, the weight of victory fades into cold determination. The restaurant confrontation was a battle, but the war is far from over. The Horizon signing is days away. If they tried this hard to disrupt me before, they won't stop now. James spreads documents across the mahogany conference table. We need to anticipate their next move. They'll go after Horizon directly. Elizabeth nods, sliding a timeline forward. The sabotage always escalates right before a breakthrough. Horizon is the biggest yet. I study the red flags dotting the timeline. My pulse steady now, no longer fueled by hurt, but by clarity. What vulnerabilities could they exploit? James points to our vendor relationships. They might spread doubts about capacity. Horizon is a 5-city rollout. Any whisper of weakness could scare them. Then we'll counter with transparency. I decide. Complete financial records, vendor histories, client testimonials, ironclad protections in the contract itself. The rain lashes against the windows as if echoing the tension. But instead of fear, I feel resolve settle into my bones. They want a war, I say quietly. So let's give them one they can't win. The next 48 hours unfold like a chess match played at full speed. Elizabeth and James transform Aurora's conference room into a command center. Files, spreadsheets, and binders cover every surface. Each wall is pinned with charts mapping our 15 years of growth against the sabotage timeline. The story is suddenly plain: every cancellation, every rumor, every inspector, each one linked to a family gathering. By midnight, the first night, we have built our defense. James compiles certified audits, vendor payment histories, and profit reports, each page evidence of stability. Elizabeth gathers client testimonials, her tablet glowing with praise from senators, celebrities, and Fortune 500 executives who have trusted us with their most high-profile events. I prepare a presentation outlining our capacity to manage Horizon's 5-city launch, complete with staffing schedules and contingency plans. But even as we plan, they strike again. At dawn, Elizabeth's phone vibrates with a message that drains the color from her face. "Christine," she says, handing me the screen. "They've hired Victoria Foster." The name chills me. Victoria Foster, the PR consultant who tried to sue Aurora 3 years ago after we refused to hire her daughter. The lawsuit failed, but not before she whispered lies to clients, questioning our ethics and stability. Now she's back, on my family's payroll. "They're escalating," James mutters grimly. Foster still has friends at Vanity Fair and the Journal. She can spread poison fast. I press my palms against the table, grounding myself. Then we counter with facts, prepare media responses, anticipate every accusation she might plant. This is no longer just sabotage. This is warfare. The following morning, my phone buzzes with a voicemail from Horizon's CEO. I replay it twice, my hand trembling. "Emergency board meeting tomorrow at 8 a.m. We need to discuss some concerns that have been raised about Aurora." The careful pause between his words speaks volumes. My family has gone straight to Horizon. Elizabeth appears in my doorway, her face taut. "Christine." "They called Horizon directly?" I say, voice level, raise doubts about our stability. "They've timed it perfectly one day before the signing." James arrives with fresh reports, the circles under his eyes deep. "I've been preparing for this. Complete financial transparency, ready to present. But make no mistake, they want to kill the contract." My phone buzzes again, a vendor texting that Melissa called, pretending to represent my accountant, asking about payment histories. Minutes later, James reports that Victoria Foster phoned Hargrove Linens, claiming to conduct a business ethics review for Horizon. They're targeting every angle: vendors, clients, even employees. This isn't rumor anymore. I say, my anger sharp and cold. This is coordinated demolition. Elizabeth scrolls through her tablet. "Your father called Horizon's CEO personally. Claimed to be concerned about troubling financial indicators. I think they're referencing the Westbrook contract cancellation." I freeze. The Westbrooks canceled suddenly last month. forfeited their deposit without explanation? Of course, my mother plays bridge with Mrs. Westbrook every Tuesday. They sacrificed $50,000 just to create the appearance of instability. James says, appalled. The calculation takes my breath. They've weaponized social currency against me. The office hums into overdrive. Staff rally. Department heads calling key relationships to reaffirm trust. Elizabeth activates our emergency protocol, gathering documentation of every incident of interference. James finalizes certified audits, triple-checked and notarized. I organize our defense presentation, structuring it not as reaction, but as a showcase of Aurora's integrity. By nightfall, the conference table is buried in evidence. Elizabeth squeezes my shoulder. Tomorrow, they'll try to frame you as unstable, but we have the truth. We'll be ready. I nod, though the weight presses hard. They're not just trying to destroy Aurora. They're trying to destroy me. The next morning, I step into Horizon's gleaming Manhattan boardroom, the skyline pouring golden light across polished mahogany. My heart beats steady despite the stakes. 20 executives sit waiting, their expressions serious, curious. Across the room, Melissa sits poised in her cream suit, every strand of hair immaculate. My mother, regal in burgundy, sits stiff beside her. My father avoids my gaze. At the head stands Victoria Foster, her icy confidence radiating as she taps her tablet. "Miss Hale," says Gregory Townsend, Horizon's CEO, gesturing to an empty chair. "Thank you for joining us. Concerns have been raised regarding Aurora's stability. We need to review before proceeding." I take my seat between Elizabeth and James, placing my leather portfolio on the table. Victoria begins her performance, the screen behind her flashing manipulated graphs. Our analysis reveals troubling patterns in Aurora's financial stability and client retention. Reports suggest inconsistent management practices, concerning fluctuations. My mother leans forward, her voice sweet but sharp. "We only want what's best." It seemed irresponsible not to share our concerns about Christine's company. Their elegant deception might have worked once back when I still sought their approval, when I still mistook silence for love. But not today. "Mr. Townsend," I say, my voice calm, carrying. "Before we continue, I'd like to present certified records. 5 years of financial data, audited by 2 independent firms." I slide a USB drive across to Horizon's technical director. James distributes hard copies, his voice carrying authority. "Our client retention rate over 5 years is 87%, well above the industry average. Vendor payment histories confirm 0 missed deadlines." Townsend scans quickly, his brow tightening. Around the table, murmurs ripple as executives compare Victoria's claims to the truth before them. But I don't stop there. This is not business concern. This is personal sabotage. Here is documented evidence. Elizabeth connects her tablet to the screen, projecting a timeline marked with red. For 10 years, as Aurora's COO, I've tracked a disturbing pattern. Every major contract has been preceded by interference anonymous complaints, vendor rumors, inspector visits, all traceable to Christine's immediate family. The boardroom falls into stunned silence. "That's outrageous," my mother snaps, her tone pitched higher now. "We've only ever tried to protect the family's reputation." James directs attention to an email displayed on screen, Melissa contacting Victoria weeks ago, specifically about Horizon. "Miss Foster," says Martin Reynolds, Horizon's chief legal officer, leaning forward. "Were you aware of the personal connection when you agreed to present?" Victoria falters, her veneer cracking. "I was approached professionally. Legitimate concerns." I cut in, sliding forward the inspector's report. Then explain why inspectors arrived hours before the Williams-Thompson wedding, citing an anonymous call from a concerned family member. Explain the calls to our vendors' calls traced back to my parents' home phone. Explain the rumors of food poisoning that never happened. I turn, locking eyes with Melissa. Explain how you contacted Horizon executives, planting seeds of doubt about our capacity when you've never set foot in our offices. Never attended a single event. Her knuckles whiten around her glass. I was sharing information. You were sabotaging, I reply evenly. Systematically. For years. Townsend clears his throat, his gaze sharp. Miss Foster, your presentation misrepresented facts, and the evidence before us indicates deliberate interference, not legitimate concern. Melissa rises abruptly, her voice shaking. This is an ambush. We came here out of care for Christine. No. Townsend interrupts firmly. You came here to undermine her. Any further interference with Horizon's business will result in legal action. Victoria gathers her things hastily, avoiding eyes as she slips out. My father remains silent, his face pale against the dark wood. My mother trembles slightly, her perfect poise eroded. We only wanted to protect the family name, she says weakly. I look at her, my voice quiet but cutting. For 15 years, I built a business with integrity, excellence, and transparency. That should have strengthened our family's name. The only damage comes from your actions. Townsend rises. Aurora's team, please step outside while we deliberate. The 30 minutes in the waiting room feel endless. Elizabeth clasps my hand. No matter the outcome, they can't touch you anymore. The truth is out. James nods, his expression steady. Numbers never lie. Neither do we. When we're called back, my family is gone. Townsend stands at the head of the table, his voice even. After reviewing all evidence, Horizon Resorts has unanimously decided to award the contract to Aurora Events. Relief floods through me so hard, I grip the table to stay steady. Furthermore, Townsend continues, we'd like to expand our relationship. We're prepared to make Aurora our exclusive partner for all properties worldwide. The words crash over me like sunlight through storm clouds. Not just victory, validation. We value partners with integrity, Townsend says, extending his hand. Today you proved exactly why Aurora is the right choice. As we sign the expanded contract nearly $4 million now, I feel the last chain break. No longer the overlooked daughter in her mother's kitchen. No longer the servant serving others while my achievements were hidden. I am Christine Hale, founder and CEO, recognized for the empire I built. Outside, Elizabeth embraces me. You built this through integrity, not connections. That's why you won. James nods, pride softening his stern features. 15 years of doing things right just paid off. We step onto the busy Manhattan street. The world bustles indifferent, but I stand taller than I ever have. In the reflection of the glass towers, I see not the daughter dismissed, but the leader affirmed. 6 months after the Horizon showdown, I stand on the stage of the Waldorf Astoria's grand ballroom, a crystal award in my hands catching the light and scattering it into 1,000 colors across the crowd of industry leaders. The applause washes over me, steady and strong, but my voice is calm as I lean into the microphone. Success requires both talent and boundaries. I tell them, Aurora was built not only on vision, but on refusing to let others decide what we are worth. The Aurora Foundation banner hangs behind me, the organization I established to support women entrepreneurs whose families refuse to see their vision. From the front table, Elizabeth beams, her silver-streaked hair elegantly styled. Pride in her every glance. Beside her sits James, steady as ever. The numbers man who became family. Industry journals called the Horizon contract a turning point, and they were right. In the 6 months since, Aurora's reputation has grown beyond anything I once dared to imagine. Revenue is up 35%. Our new Miami and Denver offices nearly complete, and our client list stretches across the nation. What my family tried to destroy has become undeniable. After the ceremony, Elizabeth hands me a glass of champagne. To boundaries, she says with a grin, and to the family we choose, I reply, clinking her glass. James joins us, eyes twinkling with rare softness. The board approved profit sharing for the expansion. And Christine, your offer for me to become permanent CFO. He shakes his head, overwhelmed. You deserve it, I tell him. You believed in Aurora when my own blood didn't. You've earned a stake in what we've built. Later that night, as guests mingle over dessert, I spot them. My parents and Melissa, standing awkwardly near the entrance, invitations in hand. I had sent them as a courtesy, not expecting them to come. For a moment, the old ache stirs, but it no longer holds power. My mother approaches, her elegance still intact, but her eyes softer, older. Christine, she says, her voice tentative. Your speech was impressive. Thank you for coming, I reply, polite, professional. My smile measured. There's a table reserved for you near the center. The silent auction ends at 10. My father shifts uncomfortably. The Miami expansion. That's significant. It is, I say simply. Melissa studies me, her poise cracked by something like awe. You really did it. I nod, then excuse myself to greet the mayor. Their presence doesn't rattle me anymore. For the first time in my life, their approval means nothing. 6 months earlier, I hosted Aurora's holiday party in our Manhattan headquarters. Instead of slaving in my mother's kitchen, I laughed with 60 employees while caterers served a menu I designed for fun. No trembling hands, no knot in my stomach, just joy. That contrast stays with me now as I walk through the ballroom. My foundation's first donors pledging support, my employees glowing with pride. The Aurora Foundation has already helped 3 women launch businesses: a bakery, a floral studio, and an event firm in Boston. I spend hours mentoring them, telling them what no one told me. Trust your instincts. Respect is not earned only through success. It is demanded through boundaries. As I speak with one donor, I catch my mother watching from across the room. Our eyes meet. She nods slightly, a gesture somewhere between acknowledgement and surrender. It is not reconciliation, not forgiveness, but it is enough. 1 year later, I hold the Foundation's first annual report in my hands. Elizabeth flips the pages with pride. 3 success stories already, dozens more in the pipeline. You've built something bigger than events. Christine, you've built legacy. I smile, my voice soft. When family shows you who they are, believe them. And then build the life you deserve anyway. That night, snow falls over Manhattan, the city lights glowing against the dark sky. Elizabeth links her arm through mine as we step outside. James close behind. The car waits at the curb, but I pause, looking up at the sky. For the first time in my life, Christmas holds no dread, only possibility. And I understand now what all those years were teaching me. That success is not only measured in contracts or revenue or awards. Success is measured in freedom, the freedom to define yourself, the freedom to choose the people who deserve your loyalty, the freedom to build a legacy untouched by sabotage. I am Christine Hale, daughter of Evelyn and Richard, sister to Melissa, CEO of Aurora Events. But most importantly, I am no longer defined by what they refuse to see. I am defined by what I chose to build. And that is everything. If this story inspired you, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. Drop a comment below about what lesson you took from Christine's journey. You never know who might need to hear your words today. End.